해피터 코리아 시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까? 이번 시간에는 우리 제이콥이 유타주 솔트레이크를 출발해서 이제 샌프란시스코 공항에 이제 도착해서 그때부터 이제 비행기 안에서 이런 상황들을 좀 정리해서 말씀드리도록 하겠습니다. 계속해서 이러한 영상을 여러분에게 소개하도록 하겠습니다. Jacob, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. So on this video, I'm just going to take a minute. The last video we had, we talked about the process of getting my visa and my plane ticket, and also a little bit about where I'm quarantined. So today we'll talk about my trip from Utah to Korea and how everything went.
네, 그래서 이제 지금부터 이제 유타를 출발해서 샌프란시스코 가는 거 얘기 시작하겠습니다. 가세요, 갑시다. Let's go.
Okay, so I left Salt Lake City on a 8:25 a.m. flight with all my bags and my cat ready to go, everything. We flew to San Francisco. I had a short layover, only I think it was 50 minutes total. So just enough time to hurry to the international terminal, go to the gate, and fill out the paperwork that I had to fill out to get on the plane to Korea. So they required a consent form to sign that I will quarantine properly. They checked my COVID test results, and they actually forgot to take my temperature. So I got on without having my temperature taken.
So Jacob, question: did you really have that PCR on your test form?
I did, well, kind of. The name of the test was called an NAA test, which is a nucleotide amplifying assessment or something like that. That's just a broader name for PCR. But then in the body, they said this NAA includes RT-PCR. So
Okay.
it wasn't quite exact, but it is just fine. They accepted, no problem.
Right, but you remember my story, right? Because my test result, the form says molecular test, and which is another name for PCR, but at San Francisco, I was rejected because it didn't have enough PCR, those three characters.
Yeah, and you scared me that because my language wasn't really specific or exact. So I found online the frequently asked questions that describe the method of testing and says that it is RT-PCR, and even the company, the testing lab certification for FDA approval, temporary FDA approval for their test, which specifically says that it's an RT-PCR test. They didn't need to look at that, it turns out, but I brought it just in case.
Did you also have a passport number on it?
No. When I read on the requirements, it needs a passport number or date of birth. Mine did have my date of birth.
See, that's what kind of made me unpleasant at San Francisco. They said new policy. You gotta have a passport number, and the document must be signed or stamped by the doctors, whatever like that. But anyway, so 여러분 지금 그래서 제이콥이 이제 샌프란시스코 도착했을 때 환승에 필요한 시간이 불과 15분밖에 없었다고 이제 15분, 그지? 그래서 매우
50분.
50분. 50분이면요, 국제선에서 그렇게 긴 시간이 아니죠. 그래서 자가격리에 필요한 그 서류를 작성하고 이제 비행기를 탑승했고. Alright, now go ahead.
Great, yeah, thank you for translating it. Easier for me if you interpret what I say. So got on the plane, everything was great. It was a long flight. Interestingly, I had my cat with me, and I was worried about the long travel time with my cat because he's just in his carrier only, and he can't come out, so he can't use the bathroom. It's hard to feed him or give him water. And so from the time I left my house at 6:15 in the morning until I arrived here at my quarantine facility, he did not come out of his carrier one time. So it's a long time to read about him.
와, 그래서 그 고양이는 정말 대단하네. 그 오랫동안 참았으니까. 제이콥이 그 유타 자기 집에서 6시 15분경에 집을 나왔어. 그 고양이는 그 고양이 있잖아요. 그 집 안에 들어가서 밖에 한 번도 못 나오고 인천공항에 도착할 때까지 그대로 집에 있었는데 정말 고양이 인내심이 대단합니다.
Yeah, he was really good on the flight. He didn't make any sound. Sometimes when I go in the car with him, his carrier, he cries a lot, saying wants me to let him out. But I think because everything was so unusual, so new, and a little frightening, just stayed quiet and just looked around,
아,
took it all in.
그 고양이가 새로운 환경이잖아요. Everything was unusual. 새로운 접하는데 그 안에서 소리도 안 내고 조용히 그냥 이렇게 살피며 지내왔다니까. 야, 그 고양이를 위해서 박수. 잘했어. Toro, right? What was his name? Toro?
Toro, yeah.
Yeah.
He finally, when we were in the taxi, well, I'll get to that. So the flight was great. The plane was so my flight to San Francisco from Utah was a small Canada Air jet plane, totally full of people, no empty seats. They didn't social distance us. So and it's a small plane, so that was very uncomfortable.
그래서 솔레크에서부터 샌프란시스코에서 가는 비행기는 에어 캐나다에 있는데 빈자리 하나씩 꽉 찼다고 하네. 이상하다 그거.
Yeah, but thankfully the flight from San Francisco to Incheon was, a big 787 Dreamliner and tons of empty seats. I had my whole row of free seats. There was no one in the row in front of me or behind me. So I was all by myself.
그래서 샌프란시스코에서 타고 온 비행기 유나이티드는 앞에도 다 비고 뒤에도 비고 세 자리 다 비고 텅텅 빈 비행기를 타고 왔네. 잘했다.
Yeah, very comfortable.
와, 편하게 잘 왔네.
So then we got to the airport. We landed, and as you know, there's stations that you have to go to. I think with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times you have to talk with somebody, and they look at your documents and ask you questions and make sure you have the app installed for quarantine, and that you have the address written down and a phone number in Korea that they can call, for all of that. But everything went smoothly. I had all the papers I needed. Everything was working fine. My temperature, they did take my temperature there, and it was fine.
와, 지금 저 제이콥이 이렇게 얘기했잖아요. 그 비행기에서 내려서 입국장에 가기 전에 그 뭐 한 5군데를 거쳐야 됩니다. 뭐 주소도 확인하고 나도 그렇게 했거든. 또 서류 확인하고 또 한국에 있을 곳에 전화번호 확인하고 마지막으로 또 체온도 재고 그렇게 했는데 you know what? Honestly, I was so worried, between those, the 4 or 5 different stations as I had to go through, because it was a time consuming and I was very worried. But you were so lucky, man. Again, yeah.
Yeah. So then I got my bag, my check suitcases, both of those, filled out the customs declaration form. At customs, they sent me over to the animal quarantine area, like they could look at my cat, look at his paperwork. I had to get a lot of documents for him, rabies vaccine and record, and vaccine or a rabies antibody test, and a health certificate. So they looked at all of that. Everything was great. They were very nice. They liked the cat. They thought he was nice and cute and sweet. They even tried to give me some water to try to get him, but he wouldn't drink it.
그래서 이제
So then,
그래서 짐 찾고 동물 검역소에 가서 이제 또 그 고양이 검역을 받고 물도 주고 그분들 참 친절했는데 I think they were very extraordinary kind to you because you look much better than me. handsome 하니까 야 잘생기고 볼 거야.
I go, okay, so then they take you out to find transportation. They send you to a place to help you based on where you're traveling to. So I went to that station. They have bus information to get to Potensi. But that was going to take a long time, and I knew my cat was getting impatient and probably needed to use the bathroom and get some water. So I opted to take a taxi from the airport all the way to Potensi.
So
That's what I did. It's an hour and a half drive.
how long did it take by taxi?
I think it was about an hour and a half. So
And
between an hour and a half.
So you had a choice between the limousine and the taxi, but that taxi was designated by the airport authority, right?
That's right. It was nice because they have the taxi drivers waiting right there at the help station. So the person says, "Okay, you're going to take a taxi." He gets the driver and says, "Okay, this is where you're going." He takes you right out to the car. 한국말 못하는 사람들 아주 많이 도와주는 것 같아요. 제가 한국말 하니까 훨씬 편안하고 좋았지만 하나씩 도와주는 그것이 참 대단합니다.
그러네. 시청자 여러분, 지금 제이콥은 이제 포천까지 가야 했잖아요. 저는 이제 대구까지 와야 했기 때문에 KTX를 탔고, 제이콥은 공항에서 이제 짐을 찾고 동물 고양이 검역을 마치고 밖에 나오면은 그곳에서 이제 교통 안내를 해주는 사람이 있습니다. 그리고 뭐 지역별로 뭐 수원, 포천 이렇게 버스가 있는데 제이콥이 이제 포천 가는 버스는 보니까 시간도 많이 걸리고 또 출발 시간도 있고 하니까 택시를 이용을 했습니다. 근데 그 택시는 일반 택시는 아니고 이미 그 방역 그 관계자들하고 계약을 맺어서 특수한 택시입니다. 근데 그 택시를 타고 이제 빨리 1시간 반 정도 걸려서 빨리 이제 포천으로 갔다는 얘기잖아요. 그런 경우가 있습니다. 두 가지 경우, 버스를 이용할 수도 있고 택시인데 그냥 일반 버스, 일반 택시는 아닙니다. 공항에서 정한 버스, 정한 택시인데 저 같은 경우는 이제 광명역까지 가서 KTX를 타고 이동을 했는데 와, 그래서 빨리 갔네, 집에.
Finally, in the taxi ride, finally the cat Toro started becoming uncomfortable and impatient. He was meowing, crying most of the ride. He was wanting to come out and be done with the trip.
You know, he knew that he was home, his new home. So now he's, relaxed.
Yeah.
그래서 고양이가 이제 그동안에 비행기에서 그렇게 장시간 타고 오면서 잘 참아왔는데 택시를 타고 이제 가자마자 이제 고양이가 매 소리도 내고 이제 막 나오고 싶어 하고 이제 설치기 시작했는 거죠. 예.
택시 안에서 그랬다고요.
택시 안에서.
택시 안에서 하면서 계속 울었어요.
그러니까. 택시 안에서. He's smart. Yeah, he's smart. Yeah. Just like you.
귀찮았을 거예요. 너무 시끄러워서. 자꾸.
그래서 택시가 바로 지금 있는 집에까지 갔는 거지.
That's right. That's right.
그럼 오늘 아침은 어떻게 먹을 거야?
Oh, so let me tell you about my host. This family I've known for quite a few years. They were originally friends of my ex-wife, and we've done a lot of activities together. They came and visited and stayed in my house in Utah a lot of times, maybe 4 or 5 times. And we took road trips together. We went camping and saw national parks and went to Las Vegas together. And when I was here in Korea visiting in 2017 with my family, we stayed in this very same apartment, so I'm used to it. And,
Right.
And my host, they took us on a trip to see different places in Korea. We went on a road trip here in Korea.
Mm.
So, very close friends. I call them 어머니 and 아버지. They are so kind to let me stay here. And she will actually, my 어머니, she will bring me the food for each meal so that I can eat.
All right, but I guess she's not allowed to come inside, but she'll leave it like outside, just like that happened to me, right?
Right.
Well, Jacob, if possible, take some pictures of your breakfast and lunch, and when we talk again later today, we're gonna more talk about how you spent today, right?
예, 아까 얘기한 거 통역해 주세요.
네, 제이콥이 지금 있는 집은요, 아까 우리가 앞에 비디오에서 좀 설명했죠. 아주 좋은 친구 집입니다. 근데 실은 그 전에 부인하고 친구 그런 아는 사이인데 가까워졌죠. 가까워져서 지금 계시는 분 는 이제 어머니라고 부르고 아버지라고 부르고 친자 아버지 어머니처럼 대하고 있는데 이 가족들이요 미국에도 여러 번 와서 같이 함께 여행도 하고 공원에도 가고 이런 좋은 추억을 갖고 있습니다. 그리고 또 몇 년 전에 우리 제이콥이 가족하고 한국에 왔을 때도 이 가족하고 좋은 시간을 보내서 아주 특별한 관계인데 이 어머니께서 지금 한국에서 이 집 주인께서 이제 식사 때가 되면 이제 음식을 해서 갖고 밑에 갖다 둔다고 합니다. 그러면서 이제 뭐 저처럼 말이죠. 갖다 두면 제이콥이 이제 그걸 또 먹고 빈 그릇 밖에 두고 그리고 제가 제이콥 보고 오후에 우리가 또 다시 통화할 때는 음식 사진도 좀 찍어달라고 부탁했습니다. Did I do right? Oh, you can do it better.
Just want to say thank you so much to my host, 어머니, 아버지, 감사합니다. 이렇게 너무 사랑스럽게 해주셔서 감사합니다. 이 비디오를 보실 거예요.
Yeah, well, let me say thank you to your host again. 아버님, 어머님, 저는 제이콥 영진이의 한국의 형님입니다. 저도 한 2주, 3주 전에 한국에 와서 저는 시골에서 자가격리를 했습니다. 근데 춥고 물도 없고 시골이어서 아주 고생했는데 우리 영진이는 우리 어머님, 아버님 덕분에 좋은 곳에서 편하게 지내고 있으니까 부럽고 어머님 감사합니다. 그리고 우리 영진이 좀 잘 봐주세요. 사랑해요. And Jacob's friends and the family back home in Utah. We love you. I'm from Utah. I'm from Draper, Utah, but I'll be in Korea until March 6th. But Jacob will be here, I guess, forever. But I look forward to seeing Jacob in person in about 2 weeks with my nephews in Daegu, where he'll be working for next one year, 1 or 2, whatever. But don't worry about Jacob. He's in good country. He's in beautiful country. He's surrounded by so many good people. All right. 감사합니다. Jacob, 안녕. 안녕.